Good evening, Miss Anita, and thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today. My name is Norfata binti HANIFF,
And my name is HAZIQAH binti HASHIM SHAH.
and we are from College Professional Mara Sri Iskandar. So before we begin, we'd like to express our gratitude for your willingness to share your experiences and insights with us. Okay, to start off, could you please share a little bit about your background, including your education, professional experience, and what led you to your current role?
All right. Thank you so much. It's an honor for me to be with you guys today. And I am Anita Vinayji Supaya. Have been working for almost 28 years as an English teacher in several schools. Okay. So in count, this is my 8th school. Okay. My first posting was in some rural schools in Bagandato. Then I was there for almost 8 years. Then I was transferred to several SK schools for almost 16 years. I was in SK school, and now I'm back in SJKT somewhere in 2021.
Mhm.
All right. So I actually went to this Maktab Perguruan Kinta Ipoh. All right. In the year 1994 up to 1997. Okay. Then I was posted somewhere around Teluk Intan, not too far. That is the nearest I would say is Bagandato. It's actually not really in Bagandato town. It's just maybe a few kilometers from Bagandato. Still, it is in Teluk Intan district, and that's about it. Anything else you girls want to know about?
So far that's all. Okay. Thank you for that. So,
All right.
we would like to understand more about your intercultural experiences. So, in your current role, you may have worked with colleagues from various cultural backgrounds. So, from your experience, how do you usually give feedback to your colleagues when working in a culturally diverse team?
All right. In my experience, I have actually worked in multiple cultural diversity. Okay. I find it very enjoyable because I tend to know many cultures and the religion. Okay. And I at the same time I've actually attended a lot of cultural shows, regardless among the Malay teachers, the Tamil, the Indian teachers, and I feel very comfortable working with them because it enhances collaboration and strengthens the relationship, within the teams. Okay, regardless our race and religion. So I understand it's important to work in teams so that we can build a um, good team and good relationship among everybody. All right.
So, in your opinion, is it more important to be honest when giving feedback? Or do you think it's better to consider the relationship and be more mindful on how feedback might be received?
Feedback. What do you mean by feedback? Which kind of feedback are you talking
Feedback
about?
maybe like if you are in a team where you have to discuss about something and then you have different opinions and you want to give feedback to them. So, do you prefer to be direct or more filter what you say?
Oh, okay. I would love to be direct. You
Hmm.
know why? Because it's more clear, and the person who is supposed to be uh, understanding and knowing what is our intention, he or she will get to know our intention and our perception clearly, rather than you are beating around the bush. Okay, I know it is a little painful when someone is a little straightforward, but I think that is the best way for us to be more diplomatic, all right, and more. It is easy to deal with someone straightforward. Of course, in a softer and calmer way of speaking, and give your opinion. But being direct and straightforward is my choice of work, right?
Since we're living in a multicultural environment, we often notice code switch as a communication tool. Could you share how code switching, such as between Tamil to Malay and Malay to English, helps you communicate with people?
Okay, code switching is actually very important because, okay, let's say this person, he or she, doesn't understand the language. Okay, how do I do that? I use my gestures, okay, in order to relate the message to them. Otherwise, they wouldn't know. All right, okay. Perhaps another way is facial expression. How do you code switch? You use your expression, you use your gestures in order to get them know and understand what are you trying to say. Because, for example, Malays, they have their own dialect and slang. Okay, perhaps I might not understand their slang at one point or at times. So how do I actually send them the message? By gestures. So this is how code switching helps to relate messages among the nons and the same race or cultured people around. Okay. Anything else?
And also, we know that code switching is when, okay, for example, let's say when you speak with student who is Malay, but then they are not really fluent in English, right? So you have to mix words in Malay and English together. So do you find that using that, maybe have you had your sarapan today instead of have you had your breakfast today? You say have you had your sarapan today? Do you find that it helps you to express your idea more clearly when speaking with them, with the student?
Really? Yes, of course. Because being in a Malay school for 16 years, uh, the Malay children, they are not really well versed in Bahasa Inggris, So uh, most of the time I use this translation. Okay, translation, and it actually helps a lot. But you actually shouldn't impose too much of translation. A little bit there and here. Okay, especially for the difficult meanings and words and sentences. Okay, but to make them learn the language, you have to minimize the usage of translation, but certainly it helps. Otherwise, your teaching will that you will put it off. The children will feel put off with the teaching and learning method. So it's okay actually to use this translation to either this Indian students or Malay students. It's okay. No, not a harmful effect to help them out in order to understand how to learn the subject or language.
Have you ever encountered anyone who doesn't speak English or any other language that you are fluent in? If so, did you rely on gestures to communicate?
Yes, there are. There are many. I mean, among the teachers, among my friends, among my students, there are who do not understand the language. But again, it's always expression and gestures. They help a lot to make them understand. Okay. Otherwise, you can always use a written language as well. in order to make them understand what you want to say. Okay, so in short, I would say using gestures and expressions, they are okay to use. Sometimes you feel that why am I always using gestures and expressions to make them understand? Actually, it's okay as long they understand what are you trying to say. Regardless, there could be older people, there could be younger ones. What matters? Whatever you want to relate.
So, okay, Miss, when you use gestures, how did the other person react to your use of gestures? Did they seem to understand you?
Sometimes they don't understand. Sometimes I don't know how to relate my gesture. You know, sometimes you don't know how to express things with them. So that's when translation come in. Okay. For example, your student do not understand what are you trying to say. So you use gestures. Something like that. Okay, you want to say go out and drink, and they don't understand that particular sentence. So you will have to say in a gesture where I mean most of the time they understand because gestures are very much easier to understand. Okay, unless when you come up with a difficult word or meanings, then it's difficult to explain. So what do? I will ask another student who understand to explain to the other.
Yeah.
Okay, that could be the better way. For example, there are words that I don't understand in Tamil, but these children, they are good in Tamil. So I will tell them in English and ask them, go and tell this to this person, go and have their drink outside, for example. So this person, this girl or this guy will relate this matter to their friends in order to make them understand. So this is how gestures help. Okay.
So we understand that different cultures have their own unique expressions or slang. So when interacting with Malay teachers, have you ever felt confused with the slang they used?
At times, because if I don't understand the slang, I ask them, what is it about? What are you trying to say? You know? But and yet they will try to actually uh, use another way to explain and express to me if I don't understand that. But it's okay with me because different culture, they have different language, they have different way of speaking. So not a problem. Things still go on well to communicate and to collaborate with them to participate in any events and activities. It's okay with them. So okay, no worries. It just goes on.
So when they maybe talk about you or talk about the slang with you, so do you think that it adds any barriers to communication, especially in professional or classroom settings?
Barriers such as in a communication way, is it?
Yeah.
I don't find it as a barrier. I just find it as a learning experience. That's it. Okay. Because we are all in Malaysia. So I don't think so language could be a barrier for us unless we are in a different country where we do not know the language at all, then it's a problem. Then it is a barrier to us. In Malaysia, if the person doesn't know English, that's another way of speaking to them. I can always use Bahasa Melayu because it's our national language. Yes or not? Okay. Even there are Indians who do not understand Tamil. So I use English to express things. So language is not a barrier actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a way of a little bit of difficulty from those who do not know the language. Other than that, it's okay. It's just working experience. That's about it.
Okay, so we all know that communication can lead to disagreements sometimes, especially if we're in a diverse team. So when you encounter disagreements with your colleagues, how do you usually try to resolve them?
Disagreement with my colleagues. Among disagreement, what do you mean by disagreement? What kind of disagreement? Can you give me some examples?
When you have a problem with them, or you have, such as FATIHAH said earlier, you have different opinions with them.
Different opinion. You mean to say something like misunderstanding, is it?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
confusion?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Very simple. You just use clarity for specific context. Okay. For example, using the language, okay, which fits best to the topic we are actually talking about. Okay. And using culturally specific ideas and terminology. All right. And then building good rapport with them. Okay, that will cut down the disagreement or confusion. Okay, when you actually put in sentence in a nicer way, with a lower tone. Okay, encourage more participation while talking. So that would actually resolve the matter of disagreement among us.
So you focus on finding a solution that benefits both parties, right?
Yes, yes, yes. So so that they don't feel hurt, and I will learn how to actually talk to them in a nicer way. You know, listen to their problem and give a solution if there is a disagreement, which I have not really encountered. But I'm just giving you some ideas. This could be the best way to tone down disagreement among your friends or your colleagues and your relatives. Okay.
Thank you for sharing that. Your perspective is very valuable, especially in understanding how intercultural communication functions in a diverse setting like Malaysia. Before we conclude, is there any advice you would give to individuals out there who are new to working in a multicultural environment? Little advice.
Advice. It is good actually working in multicultural because you tend to understand their culture very well, which is very important to know one's culture to get adapted with their background and how to work with them. Okay, so it is important to know their culture, to have a good rapport and relationship to understand better. Otherwise, it's not easy for you to cope and live with them without knowing their background. Okay? Is that?
Okay, thank you once again for your time, Miss, and for sharing your experience with us. We've gained a lot of valuable insights today, and we truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
My
Thank you.
pleasure. My pleasure. And by all means, I'm always available.
Oh, thank you.
All
Thank you,
right.
Miss.